going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. EJR here again, featuring more of Rocket Taxi. So what I'm going to do in today's video is something a little different. I've already went out and rode Rocket Taxi with the changes I made to it. I'm going to go over the changes in just a second that I made, but I wanted to show you guys a little bit of some of the trial and error things that actually happen and what goes into, building a bike like this. So basically what happened was I went out for a ride on the bike to test out the changes that I made, and I had all sorts of tire spin issues. There are some promising results from what I saw, but for the most part, I really couldn't get any concrete data due to the fact that, tire spin just completely ruins everything when it comes to getting draggy data or any kind of real data on what the bike is doing. So we've kind of found the limit of the Pirelli Rosso 3 tire, which I've never used it, but so far I'm not very impressed. But for now, what I want to do is I want to shift over to the bike, and I'm going to show you the changes that I made since the last video, and then we'll get right down to it. Alright, so changes going front to back. The biggest thing here is the quickshifter. We now have a Woolwich quickshifter on the bike. We went with the Woolwich shifter because it is directly controlled by the Woolwich software. It is plug and play, however it does not plug directly into the original harness, so things do change a little bit there. I'm going to clean this area up a little bit before I deliver the bike back to him. I'm probably going to leave this plastic piece off because our plan is to have two ECUs for this bike for different fuel maps rather than running a power commander. Other changes we made, I did switch over to a 42 tooth sprocket because I really didn't like how lazy the 41 tooth felt. It wasn't that it felt lazy on the hit or anything like that, but you can really feel that in the later gears it did start to slow the bike down a little bit. So mechanically those are the only two changes we made, the shifter and the sprocket. And I did, however, tune this bike now with Woolwich on strictly pump gas. So what I'm going to show you now is what happened when I was out on the road testing this exact setup that you see right here.
So we're heading out over to the spot right now to get some 60 to 130 times. Little thing to note with this shifter and Woolwich is we now have auto blip. We do have more treats for this bike going on very soon. They finally arrived at the garage, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into that once I get back from doing these pulls. On the 1.2 pretty good right there because I'm a scrub, but that was a 385, which I believe was like a 4.1 or a 4.2 in that spot last time. Here we go. Oh, spun some tire. About that. I'm gonna have to try sitting a little further back. Let's try one more here. This thing just won't hook. But to give you an idea of where we're at, that run there just did 60 to 130 and 375, and it was spinning. We are unfortunately at the limit of the tire. I kind of expected that going into this, but that's okay because we have a solution for that.
Alright, so as you can clearly see from that video, we were experiencing some tire spin. The run we did there, where it spun through the top of first gear and then clicked into second and still hazed the tire, was a 375 60 to 130. Now that was the same spot we did a 399 in before with full traction. So I'm thinking that particular run would have been mid 3.6s or so, probably a tenth of a second faster if I didn't experience that tire spin. And I'm currently rolling at 190 pounds right now. So being that this is a pump gas bike, I'm pretty impressed with that so far. I think we're on pace kind of where the ZX-10 is. I'm still not sure where it falls in line with the ZX-10, but for the most part, I mean, these bikes are a lot stronger than a lot of people think they are for straight line racing. So now what I want to show you guys is what I have in store to solve this traction problem. And it's a little bit more than a Q4 tire like some of you are probably thinking it is. Let's see what we got under here. So, what we have over here are some Rotobox boost wheels with the gold clear coat. This is a Vortex 42 tooth aluminum sprocket. We have our 180/55 Dunlop Q4 mounted to it. And we do have a drag rotor over here from our good buddy Sean Bagby, the current drag racing R1 king. Over to the front, we still have a boost wheel. We have a 120/60 Q3 Plus, which is my go-to for the front. It is going to lower the front of the bike a little bit, same with the rear. As you can see, we've got some bearings over here. Those actually came out of these wheels. These wheels came with steel bearings. I put some ceramic Worldwide bearings in it from Dave over at Worldwide. Shout out to him. So what I'm going to be doing in my next video is weighing these fully assembled compared to these. This won't be the best wheel-to-wheel weight comparison because we're obviously having a sprocket, a tire, and all of that on here, and I think these tires are actually fairly heavy, despite the fact that they're pretty well used. So I'll make sure I tell you guys what the total weight is we've lost on here. I did weigh those wheels before mounting anything to them, so I know those exact weights. So the only way I can give you a solid wheel-to-wheel comparison is if I dismounted these tires from these wheels and weighed those wheels separately. Supposedly those magnesium wheels are pretty light, but I can tell you that this wheel and tire assembly is a whole hell of a lot heavier than that one, just by feel, by a good amount. So I'm sure we're gonna save a good amount of weight on this here, even though we are gonna be running a rear brake on this bike, at least temporarily until he gets the feel of not having a rear brake. Then I'll probably convince him to remove that. That is some tape there to make sure I don't scratch at the swing arm while I'm moving that around and changing wheelbase. But alright guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Take care guys, and I'll see you in the next one.